Hi, my name is Harriet Edu. I'm going to be talking about social structure and social interactions. So, according to Henslin, social structure consists of the ways that people and groups are related to one another and their interactions as well, how they interact with each other within a society. So the first section that I'll be talking about is dramaturgy, and this social analysis was introduced by Evan Goffman, who lived from 1922 to 1982. And what he meant by this term was that as people in the society, our life is like a drama on stage, and the role that we play on the stage as the people based on each of our role. So when we are born into the society or into the world, that is when we are ushered onto the stage of our everyday life. And during our lifetime in the society, we learn how to perform on the stage. So our various roles being playing a role as a daughter, playing a role as a wife, a husband, all these different roles uh, that we perform on stage, and the stages that we may perform it on differ from one another, and it's always based on the role that we have at that point in time. And we have different roles at different points in time. The next one I'm going to be talking about is role performance. Role performance is a particular interpretation that a person give a role. Sometimes roles can conflict or have strains on a person. So an example is how a person interacts with her peers versus her parents and teachers. When these things have to be done at the same time, there can be a strain or a conflict between these roles for that particular person. Still in section 1, the next one I'm going to be talking about is sign vehicles. These are the terms that is used to refer. So then the next part I'm going to be talking about in section 1 is sign vehicles. Sign vehicles, these are the terms that is used to refer to how people use social settings, appearance, and manner to communicate information about the self. So a social setting, for example, will be in front of a classroom, or another social setting will be in front of your peers, a stage like that. And then your appearance with this will be different, because your appearance maybe in a classroom will be different from your appearance with a casual meeting with your friends. And the manner of communication between these roles are also different. The next one is teamwork, the collaboration of two or more people to manage impressions jointly. So when two or more people come together to play a role, that is what teamwork is. And then the next one is becoming the role that we play. So what this means is that sometimes you play a role for so long that you get stuck with that way of thinking or that way of doing things. So that means when you are at a different place or at a different setting, that you have to play another role. That's old way of thinking, and that old way of doing things will still be seen in how you act and how you behave in that manner. So a quote that I got for dramatology was from an article that was written by Nathaniel Laster, and he said that dramaturgy metaphor is meant to convey the idea that family roles and housing roles, stage props, and housing contents as stage manifests all work together in the context of the social production of performance. Good performance provides social status. Bad performances result in social marginalization. Just like in any play, when you do a good job, you receive prize or positive feedback and even an award. This is also true for the society and our role performances. For example, as a student, if you play your role as a bad one, you end up getting a bad result. And if you put in the work to display a good performance, you earn a great reward, which will be a grade A or a B. So the next section is going to be section 1, and I'm going to be talking about social construction of reality. For instance, what somebody see as real based off of their upbringing may not be the same for the other person. So when we talk about social construction of reality, this is the use of background assumptions and life experiences to define what is real and what is not, and also the different ways of looking at life. So from the social groups from which we belong, we learn ways that we look at life from the perspective of the society that we were brought up in. So it may be different from another person's perspective based on how they were also brought up. So this picture really brings the idea of social construction of reality together. So which is the point of view, different perspective based on different standpoints. What we view as real based on the society that we grew up in is not the same for everybody. And a quote that I got for this section is from an article that was written by Michael Root, and he says in this article that we would recognize an important biological difference between males and females, but not treat it as a reason for for some people to dominate others. So this means that we will see we will see the physical difference as well, but that will be the end. Male and female will be viewed in the same way. This is not true for everybody though. In some society, it is viewed that one gender have dominion over the other. So with this perspective or this way of looking at things is basically based on the society that you were brought up in and their way of thinking, because you're going to also think that same way. The next section, which is section 3, we are going to be talking about the things that makes up society. So the things that make up society, or what holds society together. And the first term that we are going to talk about is organic solidarity. This is the interdependence that results from division of labor. So that means a group of people, each of them have different work that they do, but when each of them do their job, people depend on one another, right? So the farmer have their own job, the person at the food processing industry have their job as well. The person at the retail, all these people have separate jobs, but when they put it together, it's an interdependence of labor. And the next one is mechanical solidarity, which is unity. People with the same point of view work on something together. In the next term in this section is division of labor, splitting of groups into specialties. And another term in this section is Gemeinschaft. In this society, life is very intimate. Everyone knows each other. This society have a shared common interest. And then we also talk about a common example would be like a small village, an intimate village where everybody knows one another. And then the next term is Gesellschaft. With this, each individual in the society is out for their own personal interests. And a perfect example would be a place like New York for this setup or this term. So with that, everybody's kind of looking out for their own personal gain, So this is this type of society that you have to be very careful so that people don't take advantage of you. And as I said before, New York is one of the places, like one of the common places for that. So, and this is my last slide, which is the references. So these are the references that I used. This first one by Lasta is the code that I used in section 2. And then Hensley is the book that the Introduction to Sociology. So this is where I got all the terminologies that I used from, the definitions from. And this article, Resisting Reality, is by Michael Root. And I was used a quote from him in my section 3 presentation. So thank you.